Mom was pretty versatile. She did a lot of stuff. She tanned hides, she beadworked, she made baskets. She just did whatever, plus doing the regular work, just trying to keep the place up, you know. Mom raised a lot of her grandkids here. She was a teacher too. She taught. She'd take the time to explain to her grandkids, okay, this is the way it was. This is the way you got to remember this, to pass it on, to keep that storytelling. This is what this is about. This is how we did this. And she'd show them. Everybody come, she'd show them. She'd show them what the plant looked like. This is and this is the time you dig it. Mom always told me, Indian time means that, hey, in the spring of the year, if you had to be if you had a long, hard winter, you was probably running low on food, running out of food. So you better be where the fish were coming so you could get that early food, or know when the early plants come on, the real early plants, and where they come up, because you need to be there to harvest those early foods so you could get your supply built back up. Because she always said that if you wasn't there when it happened, you just went without and you could starve to death. You had to be in certain places at certain times, because that's how you got your food and prepared it. And you had to be at these places, and they had certain places that Mom was very, she wanted to be at certain places at certain times because certain things happened. Mom was one of those people, no matter where you traveled or where your family was at, she always made me, no matter how far it was, we'd go to our way and go visit somebody, and she'd say, well, we're gonna go over there, and she always made a little bundle, taking them something, and we're gonna have a little cup of coffee with them and sit and visit and tell them we're on our way through, we're thinking about you. And here's a story Mom always used to tell me. She said, you always gotta keep busy. You gotta keep your hands and stuff doing. She said, if you sit around too long, your mind gets to thinking and you get off track. You lose the direction you should be going. By keeping busy and doing something all the time, you got to concentrate on whatever you're doing. So Mom always had a deal. If she was sitting down visiting, like now, talking to you, you would see her. She'd be sitting there talking to you, and at the same time she's talking to you, she'd have a little bag of she used to take the hop twine when they used to go, she'd get hop twine. And while she's talking to you, maybe she'd have a bag there, and she'd have a bunch of twine in there or something. And she'd be going like this, talking to you all the time. And you'd see she'd have 3 strands of that, and she'd be rolling it on her deal and just making 3 twine. Or she'd be beading, or she'd be working on a basket. She'd have cedar roots and she'd be going on. She was always doing something. She raced horses, she ran relays, she run distance. She loved, when she was younger, traveling through the mountains. She said traveling back and forth. Sometimes she needed to be somewhere, she'd actually run distant.
When she was younger, she was the same thing. She was up early, got everything going, had the fires going, had the food cooking, had the coffee going. And as the guys and other younger family members got up, she was already going, you know. Grandma, she finally got where she'd get on that couch, and that was kind of it. But up until that time, she was going from before the sun up till way after sundown. People were just naturally attracted to her. Not only the immediate family, but people that met her for the first time. Just, there was something spiritually, I think, attractive in her that drew others towards her center. And she didn't have to work at it. She didn't have to pretend. She didn't have to act any way. She was just herself, but she was always out in the front. And like I say, don't matter if a group of strange people, You could have a busload of people drive in here, and within a half hour, they'd all be attracted to her. She'd see you 50 years from now, she'd know who you were. And there was a story about one of the guy's babies. She was a name giver. Baby, she would name baby. They never knew what their name was. And as they got older, this one guy she had named him, and as he grew up, he, went away. Never saw him for over 40 years. And he came back one day and had his family with him, and they said they sat down and started talking, and she was just looking at him, and then, then she started telling him who he was, who his family was, what his name was. And they didn't mention his Indian name, but they knew that Grandma had given him that name.